I regret that day. I regret with the core of my being. What was I doing there? And I was there just hustling. It hurts me that the people that were there are not saying anything. Because one of the ladies said, I know I tried telling them, but nobody wants to listen. Ukuthi, why is it so difficult for if really you want to paint sifuna ukupendana red, ke maskipheni ke yonke into.
Nkululeko on Cultr.
What does it mean to be gay and to act gay? Because I'm a straight man, and I sometimes see the exaggeration in gay men almost trying to mimic being a woman. True. And overdoing it as well. Like, is there always a pressure to act a certain way as a gay man?
I promise you there is. And I think it has gotten worse whereby, I remember there was a time I did an ad. So I was doing a voiceover. And this guy said, "You don't sound gay enough." And then I was like, how does gay sound exactly? Like, no, remember, this is an ad. I want you to add the darling, add the... And I'm like, hey, but I don't function like this. Like, no, but the character that you're reading is, oh, yes, darling. And I'm just like, okay, so give them what they want.
It's kind of understandable in the audio context, because if the character, if the instruction for the character is for them to be gay, it's going to always be difficult if you cannot see it. But if you cannot hear it that they are gay, if you can see it, then maybe you will see the flamboyance.
Remember, even though that just felt like the ad does say it's Bujy speaking, but now Bujy doesn't sound bougie enough.
Yeah.
So we shot the drama, and I'm just like, okay. I ended up doing whatever they wanted.
Yeah. What do you make of a typical gay representation on television then? Because I think that's an interesting thing to talk about. Like the idea that there is always an over-dramatized version of being feminine.
Do you know, one thing that I've picked up, right, is that when you start, you expect it to be extremely feminine. People grow. And I realized that most of the things that I used to do younger, it was a facade. It was not really who I am. It was just me coming out and just being bold enough, So now it's like when you are gay, if you don't have braids on, it becomes a problem. And I'm at a point where I am comfortable not having braids on. I'm comfortable just being in my own zone. I don't want to wear tight clothes. I just want to wear jeans and sneakers and be comfortable. And that also becomes a problem because of how you package yourself coming into the industry. And once you are there, to show that you've grown up, it's a problem to say, but I don't like doing these things. I don't know how many times I've refused to do gossip shows because I'm like, it's annoying, it's unnecessary. There is more to my talent than saying, "Oh, did you see that dress?" Really? Like, I don't like doing those things. So I think for me, when I started, that really worked. But now when I was coming out of that zone of being overdressed, it became sort of a problem. Like, we don't know what to do with you anymore.
Do you understand why some other members of the gay community do it that way, to be overtly feminine? Do you understand why they would do that? Is it, or maybe the right question to ask is, what percentage of gay men really want to express themselves as feminine and not masculine? Are they doing it because they're being conditioned? This is what it means to be gay. You need to look this part. You need to speak this way. And that's it. We're going to only accept you if you speak this way. And I cannot be gay as Nkululeko looking this way.
I think it's also something that we started as the queer community without even being aware that at some point this is going to backfire on us, because most men, like in most queer men, when they come out, right, it becomes a problem that whether are you feminine and when you're feminine, mostly it's easier to be accepted, by the community. When you're straight acting, sometimes the straight acting guys get a backlash because you'll be chilling with a dude that you think is a friend, and then he says he's gay, and then it's, you can't be gay. You don't have the black nails that gays have. It becomes, so it's, I feel like we have a lot of work to do within the community, and it starts by us accepting us.
And there's different use.
And there's different use.
Yeah.
And sometimes the problem, I mean, I met this other guy who's very feminine, and cool with it. And then he says to me, Bujy, I'm top. I'm like, yo, wena, utopala manka di kwai kwai. So it's we are learning so many things. I mean, I see the youngsters coming up, with wigs and everything. And to be honest, some of them are like, no, I don't play for being a cis. I just do it as a culture thing, but it's really not me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work that also we need to understand. Because I mean, I don't know some of the alphabets.
Do you think I know more alphabets than you?
I think you do.
Let's go. L,
lesbian,
G,
gay,
B,
bisexual,
T,
trans,
Q,
queer,
I.
intersex.
You know all of them, and then there's a plus. Obviously.
Then there's a plus.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
So I'm
plus
not that
means.
bad. But they're always adding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're always adding. This is where transform, rasatata. So it's always like, what? It just doesn't end.
Because I remember last year, I think on Kai FM, Somizi Mhlongo said that he is sapiosexual. And I was confused by it because we're learning as we coexist with each other. You learn. At some point when we were younger, we knew that gay men would dress as women predominantly. Mm-hmm. They like doing drag stuff. It's like they're doing pageantry for drags to be in a competition, a modeling competition, to say who looks more of a girl. You know. And then as time went by, we get to understand that it's not only men who are participating in pageants to be drag queens. You can have a normal gay man who likes dressing up as a woman, but they don't take themselves as a drag queen for competition, for example. So you learn as we go along and as we coexist. But then sapiosexual, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I think it was pansexual, one of the two.
Oh, pansexual. I know what pansexual is.
What is it? What does that mean?
There was a time whereby when someone is pansexual, they are. So when someone is pan-African, I'm not sure if I'm gonna mix.
Yeah. I mean, pan-African is like you embrace all Africans and you fight for the advancement of African people all over the world.
Same as queer. So it's more like, I mean, when somebody says pansexual, which means he would go for a trans man. Do you understand? Or he'd also...
So a trans man is a woman
who transition to be a man
to become
and
a man.
Dating a gay guy.
A gay guy.
I know that pan also applies there, then, which means, you're sort of pansexual. Or if at some point you decide to say, actually, anything that turns me on, I am for it. And then... But there's people like the Welsh like...
Oh, I can imagine someone at home is like, so you utata zonke, like... I know for everyone.
Let me bring it home to me.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that anything with extra masculine, it usually turns me on. So I would look at someone and then like, you lesbian? Yo, because I've got that thing, So you do. I think people are just sexually fluid.
Okay, let me. That's an interesting one. So let me explore that. So if you could be attracted by a woman who is a lesbian but is more masculine, that would almost be like a straight situation because it's a man and a woman.
Which is what every mother hopes for. Can't you just date a lesbian but she's a woman, and you can be, and then you guys have babies together. I think for most people it will be very comfortable, but unfortunately it doesn't really work.
And the other thing, the other side to it is that a lesbian woman who's more masculine, I don't think that they are open to being penetrated, though.
Yes.
You see, that would be...
In most cases.
Yeah.
But I saw a tweet. The masculine, the butch one in the relationship is the one who's pregnant. And then everyone was like, whoa!
That's confusing. That's confusing.
Why is that one not the one with the heels should be pregnant? I'm just like, it doesn't work that way. But I've learned one thing. Honestly, what happens between two people like Cameroon is between them. This thing of over, like what Uganda did, trying to take away, actually implementing, being imprisonment for being gay or LGBTQI. For me, it's ungena happy. Once it's consensual between two people, Maspumeni da, they know what they were doing, unless if it was, or it was some form of abuse, then it becomes a problem. But if they've all agreed, and whether it's married couples swapping partners, if it makes you all happy, do it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I don't know if I'm good enough to understand the nuances of why they arrived at that decision, but that's pretty much my policy on anything, actually, is that, like, for as long as it doesn't really affect me, we can coexist with each other. Because already we have an arrangement in this country that there's black people, there's colored people, there's white people, there's Zulu, Xhosa, Tswana, Pedi. It's like we always have to navigate around our idiosyncrasies, like the things that you like as this kind of a person, someone else doesn't like. But it doesn't mean that we pass laws that criminalizes the existence of people. I think they take it a stretch too far. I think that the reason I say I'm not good enough to maybe understand it, I don't want to condemn them, because maybe in their society, it's a generally accepted thing that maybe 99% of their population, they all agree that that's the right thing to do. I don't understand, though. Like, I do not understand why.
You mean in terms of marriage, right? Like,
the criminalization of the existence of gay people. I don't understand. I think even if 99% of the people in the country don't agree with being gay, with homosexuality, what about homosexuality? What do two homosexual people do that affects you to a point where you have to criminalize their existence?
The biggest problem is when you look at someone and make it about yourself. That's where the problem is. Because I realize that not because people will look at some LGBTQI member and make it about themselves. Ukuthi, imagine, why are you imagining? Because they're not doing it to you. Like, why do you even stretch it that far? So now it's something that they see, and then they try to make it about themselves. And that's why they'll say, my child will not. And there's friends that have accepted us, but once their child shows any sign of being queer, all of a sudden it's like, why? Boys don't do that. And I told a friend of mine, I was like, you're not comfortable with me. That's why you're saying to your child, don't act like this. Because it's not, people are homophobic in general. Like, and I don't want to say with what I've seen with me, but what I've seen with so many of us, that it's okay. It's easy for Bujy to make friends with a straight guy than if I wasn't famous or popular. Straight guys will have a problem, say, lofuna in. But it's easier now because there's a brand attached to it.
You see, it's interesting because I don't want my daughter to be lesbian. I am also cool with the idea of you being a gay man. There's a line there where that's not homophobic, but maybe the desire for me and my child to be straight maybe comes from
the benefits of, what I mean, let's be honest. It comes from the benefits of knowing that when you're heterosexual, you are less discriminated. That's a fact. And when you appear in a certain way, you're more protected, and also with how you grew up and your dreams for your daughter. So now all of a sudden, they're now changed. To what, Boity? No, I'm going to take her to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to protect her from the worst man. Can't you know she's just going to be with another woman? And already that destroys everything that you are about. So it's not necessarily about your daughter, it's about you.
What's the possibility of a child raised by you for them to be straight or gay? Like when you look at maybe your friends who are gay in relationships or marriage, what happens to their children? Do they predominantly eventually become gays and lesbians, or do they just are straight?
I think for me, I know that's quite possible, because of my...
Will you look at your child a certain way if they were just straight?
Even better, I'll be like, hey, love, you have less problems in life.
Oh, okay.
So I'm being honest. I've learned to be... There was a part of me that wishes when I started in the industry, I was less gay. Because don't forget, also the jobs that we get, it's a matter of how you feel as a producer. Say, am I comfortable? So now with
That's a
me,
good point.
also like when I look at myself coming to the industry, plus size. Already when you're plus size, it's a big, gay, flamboyant, wigs on top of that. You are just a ball of drama. And in most cases, People want that, and in most cases they don't. They only want you there for a certain moment, not forever. You can't go for 20 years. Longevity is cut short because now you are influencing other people to become that way.
Yeah, I think there's always that fear, and I think you bring a very very good point. And I think maybe to take it back to Uganda and every other country, I think whenever they push back, I've been noticing that in the textbooks of children in America, for example, whenever parents notice that there is a content that alludes to homosexuality there, that the parents will and they'll be against it. And I've asked myself what I would do, and I think that I don't want anyone to teach my child about the idea of homosexuality. I will tell her, Uguti, there are people who are gay, and I think I've had that conversation with her already because she's 10.
Curriculum.
And I don't want anyone irresponsible to tell her or to give her the idea that that's what she needs to do, like being pressured into transition. Because the problems with transitioning and taking pills that can not be reversed for you to change chemically your gender, based on the information that we know now with documentaries and studies, there are transgenders. For example, I was watching on Russia Today, transgender men and women who are 40 and 50 years old who have regrets about the things that happened to them when they were younger. Maybe the operating of their breast, they will never grow back again. You would rather want that person to make that decision when they're 18, when they're 21. I think I'm 33, and I think that even the decisions that I made when I was 27 were stupid sometimes. Although I'm 33, I was old enough. So I can imagine that when someone is influencing a 7-year-old child, it's more confusing, if you know what I'm saying. So I think even with Uganda, I don't agree with them criminalizing the humanity of human beings. I think some of it comes from the fear of the influence, the thing that you just said now, that you are influencing people with your existence.
But now, the nicest thing that I've learned is, I was raised by a very masculine man, right? My father, he wasn't one of those. There was no one gay in front of me. No one, nothing. I had my sisters, but I did my own thing. I was just a special kid, one who you'd see who's always dancing, always lovely, always bubbly, and without anyone's influence. So even if they'd spoken about it at school with me, I was born this way. So it was never going to change. Hence why with other people, they discover that actually maybe being homosexual is not that bad, or I can date a guy because maybe you're now open-minded enough. But in most cases for kids, it's hardly a choice. You can't be at the age of 5 and say, and start behaving a certain way, or because others don't even behave, but it's just inside of them. So it's something that I feel like is quite unfair, to say maybe if kids learn about it, then they'll be influenced. They'll be more open-minded to it. The reason why now we had to be the Rainbow Nation, because white kids went to white schools and blacks went to, so there was that problem. So now the next thing you're gonna say is like, if a child decides they're gay, they need to have gay school for them.
I think you do notice that our parents never talk to us about sex, ever, even when they delay and say, I will wait until they're 15.
But let me tell you, but they knew. It's like, when I came out with my family, like to my family,
sure,
they knew. Mothers can tell when their daughters are starting to have without them saying anything.
Yeah.
As a parent, like, listen, there's things that my nephews would do. They grew up in front of me, and I'm just like, I know who did that.
It still, Bujy, doesn't take away, I take your point, but it still doesn't take away the fact that there are conversations with children that are very awkward. That, like, it's like, how do I have the sufficient skill? No one told me about this. I just discovered it, for example, with myself. And I think a lot of people that are watching, they eventually stick their thing on someone else who was relatively their age, and they were like, voila, something comes out when I do this. And that's it. That was their first act. None of their parents would have told them, this is what happens when, these are the consequences. I think there are some topics that are very difficult to approach with kids, and I would rather not have someone else, even with actually, because I saw there's something, a reel on Facebook where someone was exposing a textbook where this is like straight, basically there's a man penetrating a woman, and she's like, they're teaching this to grade 4s, and people outraged by it, and I'm like, but at what point should they start doing it though? Like, there's a point where eventually someone has to do it. Like,
I think there's a way of telling it, because also don't forget, as kids, abantwana, they're very experimental. So once they see that, chances are they want to try it. How many times have you seen kids watch wrestling? The first thing they do, they want to jump out of the couch and then you're like, hey, when it doesn't work that way.
that's
So
why
I
they
think
said they added the disclaimer with WWE. They say don't try it at home,
exactly,
don't try
but
it at
still,
school.
the kids are watching. For them, it's like, we're gonna try it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's how it's being taught. For me, it needs to. There needs to be a way of how to introduce it.
Yeah. What was the relationship like with you and your father?
Me and my father, oh my,
You described him as masculine.
my father was very dominant, and I think that's where I get most of me from. I'm very hands-on with everything. Plan. Like I used to say, I say this to some of my friends. If I was straight, guys, come on. Like if I was straight, honestly speaking, I don't. My father was a man who, he was a promoter from Zimbabwe.
What does it mean? Promoting music?
Promoting, like he's like concert guy, and he also worked for Sony BMG. So my father was quite hands-on with artists and doing events and Ekaya Skulile Tavern. I say this all the time. So that man, for me, as much as we didn't spend much time together, because most of the time, like, he'll be a sweetheart Stratini, but be a monster in clean. He had those issues, of just being an abusive man, and to a point, I'm the one that used to stand up against him, like, and I remember also when he got sick, he was like, I feel like you really don't love me. And I said to him, no, I do love you. And then he said, no, sometimes it's how you react. It's because you are so wrong. So the only language that I know with him was also make it to 1, I go to 100, but I think what helped me the most was the closure, because he passed away. And I remember I went to tears with my sister. And that's when I was able to, through tears, I was able to have a one-on-one conversation with him, to have more closure, for him to say, actually, you took most of me. And now when I look at myself, I'm like, actually, I did. I look more than him. Yeah.
Were you, did you have any resentment towards him?
Too much. Ooh, too much. Do you know, to a point, Yoguti, I only went to my father's grave when I was cutting Tom Stoniak. That was the last time. Like, there was the time, that's what, because with my mom, after she passed away, we used to go there all the time, but my father, nobody really bothered. And then my sister said, we need to find a way to, to also just, let's connect, let's forgive him for all the things that have happened. And there was a time I went there and it really gave me closure just to connect with him. Because my father was also a musician and he was one person who can do everything. And I happen to be that. I happen to jump into so many things. Like, I know how to make things happen.
Did you learn a lot about the entertainment industry through him? Like the people that you were hanging out around, even the business around. You're a radio practitioner, you're a presenter. Did you learn anything from him? Like, in terms of course, I would imagine that with my child, because she's always around me, she sees the stuff that I do, that the minute that she wants to get into this industry, she knows where the money is. She knows that people will shortchange you, people will rob you in the entertainment industry. Like, were there any things that you like, I'm glad he was in entertainment because I picked this up from him?
I think with him, it was DNA transfer. Honestly speaking, because I never really went to shows with him. My older siblings did. So, I would just see him hanging around with our Pet Shang, like I'll see him around, Soul Brothers and stuff, but it was never really like a thing for me. I remember the first time seeing my father on TV performing his songs. I was still in Zimbabwe then. And I was just like, that's nice. But it was never really like, I'm the one that I took from him and just did my own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And your relationship with your mother, how was that?
Ooh, are you trying to make me cry?
Sorry about that. If that's
I struggle a lot with my father. I think I cried and I was able to get closure. With my mom, I feel like I was robbed of her, and oh, so many painful things have happened in my life. But I always say to my sister, I so wish I could just call her, and oh,
Okay, we can take a moment. Don't worry about it. This is the first time I'm seeing someone from Zimbabwe crying. But you South African.
but I'm South African.
Yeah. So that's
Man,
it counts for half.
Do you know you? I never really talk about the how because my mother and I was so tight. My mom, when I came out of the closet, being gay, telling her, my mom became the mother of gays. My mother protected, everyone, like so insanely so. So I feel like I was robbed because my mom didn't get sick. She was okay. I left her after washing machine, got called the following day. She's not feeling well. Took her to hospital. 30 minutes later, she was gone.
Oh, fuck.
So for me, I always, and sometimes I do shout at her even when she comes to my dreams. I'm like, but you just left us, and a part of me does get it. She was tired. A lot of things have happened in her life. She was really exhausted. And most of the things that happened in my life, especially when I go through certain pain, and I'm just like, if my mom was here, things would feel far better. Because I know that she would have long been like, you know what, that's it. Because akafuni ngabantwana bakhe. Also when I was going through certain things in the entertainment industry, my mom would be like, no, not with my child, umntana abuye ekhaya. So now even if I go home, this, I understand that my aunts are trying to play that role, but at the same time, it won't be the same.
It's not the same thing. How was she with people?
Amazing. Oh, man. So one thing about my mom, also, I think most people, you look at the person and you don't see the human in them. My mom was a hustler of note. I remember after her father passed away. So now, it's having when they say when somebody dies, they die with their things.
Yeah.
Like if there was a tuck shop, whoever was running the tuck shop now, like it doesn't balance well because they knew what they had to do. So one thing about my mom, she was so in touch with people, because we had in a society. So one thing, the strength that I've seen, maybe that's the power of starting afresh. That's how I'm able to do it. I've seen most of my siblings do it, and I've seen myself do it. When we lost our father, my mom couldn't carry on running Itavenawan. Running, there were so many things that my father was doing.
Okay.
So it was like back to square one. So now, I'm looking at my mom, I'm like, you're busy closing down all these shebeens, because my father has multiple shebeens. Like, how are we going to survive? My mother said, we're going to make a plan. Out of nowhere. How? Now there's kids at home. What's happening? Ngvuli crash. Girl.
That's a big responsibility.
That's ngvuli crash. Nithi i-crash. Kanjani? No, ngizobakhathala abantwana in how. It started slowly. And because my mom was connecting with so many people, she was aware that there were so many women that were working ngasekhaya, but who didn't have umuntu ozobasalela abantwana.
Sure.
She took them in. Next thing I know now, these kids have moved from 5 to 15, from 15 to 25, then 5 to 5. I'm like, wait. Then she turned one of the shebeens into a crash.
Yeah, I was about to ask, was there sufficient space for it?
No, she went there. She moved out of home because now we couldn't deal.
Yeah.
And the problem was that also now I'll be forced to teach the kids while I'm busy playing on the street. The kids are like, Dishara, hello. So my mom wakala a crash like from nowhere. And because she was used to connect with so many people. When I came out as a gay when I came out of the closet, I said to her, I'm gay. My mom became the mother of gays.
Yeah.
Chikichi, my mom is now busy with love life. I remember the first time when my mother flew to Cape Town. So now she says to me, Tamba, I'm like, ma, manje we flight yami idombolo nenkukhu ngiziphathi ngithi hayi mama. Like, you can't do that, So it's shocking that within a short period of time, because she couldn't do certain things because my father always wanted to be a person, so she couldn't really be herself. But her last years, my mom became something that I've never experienced before. Like from me crash to becoming a gogo getter, becoming all these things. And that's a woman who was so I'll even get mad because my mom will buy her groceries. 3 days later, there's no food because she went out distributing everything.
What did you make of your career? I think that's incredible. Sorry, just jump from that point. That's incredible that you took care of people, and not a lot of that is present in our country at the moment. We're no longer taking care of each other. What did she think of your career as she see you blossom to doing radio, to doing television? Did she have any flashbacks? Like you look, your trajectory is very similar to what your father.
She at some point she got scared. You know, at first it was nice, and then when the bad press started coming, you know, and now there's things being said about it. And then my mom was like, I remember the first article that she read. It was saying that I was the worst dressed that I invent. Then my mom was like, Temba can't do about again. So for those who don't know, my name is Tembinkos. So Ekabang bizu Temba. Temba can't do about again. Hi man. Hello, muntu palaga biganjana. So
it's not shwashwe. It's not shwashwe.
It was like trashy things, you know. And then all of a sudden now there's this other article that really threw her off. Bujy stole my man. My mom. So tatamato dabantu. And I'm like, Ma, I didn't even know what is happening. So she started being like, you know what, I am not happy with this. You know, I want you to get a 9 to 5 now, do this as a side hustle.
Yeah.
Because now I feel like people are just coming at you. You know, and at some point I did get tired. I remember when I decided that I'm no longer doing entertainment anymore, and my mom was like, okay, cool. You could see she was relieved. Like, you, yeah.
I don't have to deal with this nonsense.
And then my sister organized me an interview at some company. I went to that interview. They hired me. They called me like, we want this boy. He's brilliant. And when I was supposed to go start my work, I got a call from Generations. I got a call from Generations, and then I was like, no, I'm back.
Go on.
Then I left. Then my sister's like, you humiliated me because those guys were really waiting for you. But yeah.
So what was your initial entry of the entertainment industry? Like what is the first thing you did as you enter into this industry? Were you a blogger? What exactly did you do as your first thing?
Y Academy. I'm a radio baby. I'm a radio broadcaster, and it's something that I studied also from Live Life.
Sure.
With my internship. So I came to the industry through Y Academy. And
Y Academy.
Y Academy,
YFM.
yes, YFM. So you must understand, that time, I've never been so intimidated because now I come from Orange Farm, whereby, you know, English is English, guys. You know, things are things. It's not. So now I'm at YFM, and now I have to learn a certain tone, and I need to be eloquent, and I need to be fluid in my English. And I'm just like, do I really belong here? So one thing about me that also, I've always had like a major imposter syndrome, you know? And when I started Y, I didn't really see myself making it. You know, I was just being myself. And self has helped me to achieve so many things. I remember when they said, I can work with Dineo. Actually, Dineo chose me and then said, no, I can content produce for her. And then now they took my format of producing of what I'd learned and something I did myself, and they started using it. And then I was like, then maybe I'm on the right track. And to be honest, that's how I started. It was through Y Academy. And for them to give me that platform and to really see me for who I am, it's something that I still believe that, you know, God really guided me to those hands. Because from there, then I went into TV.
Yeah. That's incredible. And how long did it take you to discover your voice? Because you talk about the speaking of the English, the presentation, the tone, how posh the words you use. But there's also the self. Like there's also a Bujy, for example. I know that it takes a long time for some people to discover their voice. This is how I am going to be speaking the way I'm sounding now. And this is how I'm going to be presenting myself the way I dress now. Did you have a clear idea that what is Bujy? Like everyone knows you as you are now, the way that you dress, the way that you look like, and the way you speak. It's very impressive all the time. That's your presentation standard. But how long did it take you to cultivate that, to get to learn these words, to sound in a certain accent?
I think what really happened is that I had an argument with one of the ladies at work at YFM. And then she said, I don't even understand how can Bujy just get a contract like that when his English is so bad. When his English is so bad, like, how come they, like, you can hardly even just pronounce words properly. Like, she went on, and then I remember I looked at it and I was like, whatever. But I was so hurt. And then I went on a vacation with my friends. And then I started reading out loud. I started then my friends were busy like, stop reading like that, man. And then I started reading, like teaching myself. Then I went back after the holidays, went back to Y, and then now we're on air and stuff. And then when I came out, she was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to, because sometimes I cringe when I look at certain people on TV. And I know for a fact that they haven't even tried working on themselves.
Yep.
It's just the hype,
I'm passionate about that question because I was speaking to CSA, he's a comedian, last week, and we come from similar backgrounds. He's from Eastern Cape, I'm from Western Cape, and we go to township schools. They are not good enough. They don't teach you a lot about how you should sound and all of that stuff. Our teachers can't even pronounce the words that they're reading from the textbook, for example. And I told him that when I was 10 years old, I cultivated an accent for myself because I've always loved radio. So I would listen to people on Metro FM and I would try to emulate them. Exactly what you've just said now. I would say it loud, not read it, because I knew how to read. I had my way around words, but as I read them. But then the trick was to try and sound as close as possible to the people that I was hearing on radio as well. So I harp on this question a lot with the people that I've done radio when I talk to them, because I want the people who are watching, because I know somewhere out there's a 17-year-old who's watching this content, 20-year-old who's watching this content, who thinks that everyone just arrives at a point where they sound like Mo Flavor, they sound like Dineo, they sound like whoever. But you cultivate that accent, because our original accents are not the ones that we're using now.
Yeah.
Our original accents are Zulu, Tswana, Xhosa, Tsonga, Venda, and then we have to manipulate them into sounding acceptable English, for example. Yeah, and I think it's great, it's brilliant that you were able to do that, like to easily cultivate that.
Funny enough, I still do, even till today. I never sleep on myself. I still do, like, practice, I remember last week I was rehearsing how to read sports news.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I don't know, but I was just sitting there. I was like, so in cricket this weekend, and I'm like, I don't even know what. So, another thing that I've learned, in order for you to be able to pronounce the word, you must know what they mean.
Yes.
So I have to go back and like, guys, can't the cricket but why are you busy asking nonsense? So I'm consistently working on myself.
Yeah, cricket is a very long sport. Some days it takes 2 hours. That's a T20. It's actually 4 hours. It's a T20. Some days it takes the whole day. It's called 1 day international. So that's like 8 to 10 hours. And some days it takes 5 days. It's called a test. So it's varying degrees. But that's a good point. Like you can't work on something that you don't understand.
You don't understand. You're just like, but I'm consistently just trying to explore and discover.
You, at some point, you mentioned generations. I want to just quickly wrap up on the career itself. When you look back, of course, me, I don't like asking you this question because you're still young. Asking someone to actually look back because you're still existing and you're still young. But maybe just when you reflect, snapshot on the things that you've done already, radio, television, and everything else. What would you say was one thing that described you? You said you're a radio person, right? Would you look back at your TV, at your acting as, I'm also that too, like I enjoy that? Or is there one thing that pretty much defines you? I've seen you doing podcasts too as well when you're working on the MacG channel. So as a package, as a person, I'm sure you've emceed as well. You've hosted weddings as well.
I was emceeing this weekend.
There you go. Yeah, but what are you? You're an entertainer, but what? Because I always describe myself as radio, although I'm not on radio. I'm successful on YouTube.
Well, they're sleeping on you. Trust me, they're sleeping on you.
Thank you.
Compared to what we hear at times, wow.
So which line of work defined what you were? You are, of course, a package as an entertainer, but what is it that you do that you're like, this is my thing?
Definitely presenting. And my first presenting job on TV, where I got nominated twice for SAFTAs, it was Ulasbon. It was do you know when you're at home? Number one, nobody writes scripts for me. I'm a problem because especially when I understand who we're talking to, the type of LSM that you're dealing with. So for me, I'll say TV presenting was one of the things because I'm able to incorporate being a loud me and also having the proper me when things have to get a bit serious, but also quite entertaining. So I think as a TV presenter, that has always been my thing. And I think the last presenting job that I did was for Metro FM and SABC One. The lockdown.
Oh yes.
That was the last. It was so easy for me, and I think I would really like to explore that more moving forward. And because people think that now just because you've got 20 million followers, then it transfers into talent, and I've said it's not the truth. The Kardashians are the Kardashians for a certain reason. But now when it comes to talent, it's like trying to take someone who doesn't belong because of the following and trying to put them as something else becomes a problem.
Yeah, you're making a very good point. And radio has a big problem of taking influencers, giving them shows on radio. I think Metro FM has learned from the mistakes that they've done in the past, but I think there's always the temptation. There's always a new person with 2 million followers that they would like to try and dump on radio and then learn the hard way that this person is not a radio practitioner as well. What would you change fundamentally about radio if you were in charge of Metro, or like just when you're surveying the radio landscape, what is the one thing that you like, damn man, this needs to change, otherwise people are going to move over to podcasts as a reason of that?
Content producers. We do have, good broadcasters, but sometimes if the producer is whack, it becomes a problem because now, which means you as a host, you must do the work. There's people who are not necessarily good on radio, but because we've got amazing content producers. So for me, I strongly feel that most people can be on radio, but it's about what you're saying. What are we talking about? What's the direction we're taking? And also you as an individual, because you need to know yourself fully if you're going to be in that platform. So for me, I've always said content producers can make or break a show. I once had a topic about weaves. And then I was like, why are we discussing weaves? And there's a way to discuss weaves, but I didn't like the way it was done. It was just weak, Yeah, I borrowed my wig. And then I'm like, there's so many things. There's so much you can add on just fighting over weaves as women. There's so much you can talk about and make it really worth listening to. And there's also nice, funny stories about wigs, like one of the ladies said somebody stole her wig at Brie, and then instead of focusing on the wig being stolen, let's talk about the guy that snatches the weaves. Who does it sell it to? Is the lady who's buying the weaves?
Oh, yeah.
So there's so much so now with content producers, that's why every time when I'm on TV, I prefer doing my own content because someone will give you something.
Well, they don't like it because you take their job away. They don't like it. Like
I think also when Ulaswane decided to keep me as a presenter and content producer, that's when I think I made a few enemies there.
Yeah, they don't like it because you take away their job. I've always Ekasi this phenomena of someone taking away from someone else and selling it to someone else, and I've always been curious, like when only be with you, like, are you happy with yourself that you're wearing something that you clearly know they took it from someone else to you? And that's an interesting angle.
Yes. Because hair is energy.
Yeah, it's like, Aibo, like you took someone's hair and then you're giving it to me and I'm wearing it.
Yeah,
but I get your point. What was your level of when you at your most famous? Like feeling yourself. There's the spars where you're like, I'm at this point and no one can tell me. Did you get entrapped in those situations where you feel like, fuck all your niggas, I'm big?
I've never felt that way. That's the funniest thing. That's why sometimes the fame around me, I don't understand. Like my sister, I'm like, am I really that famous? Because I see myself as just a popular guy. I've got ordinary friends. Some of them even make far more money than me. So I've never been in a position whereby I can say, now this is it. For me, it has always felt like it's not enough. I'll get a show and I'm like, but I want Monday to Friday. And then maybe then Mitch will be like, no, we're only going to keep you for Saturdays. And I've always felt like it's just not there. And I'm being honest. Until today, I haven't felt like I've arrived. I think that's why also with my bosses, I'm very humble. I'm feeling I've never had that.
But there's a... Well, that's what you're saying. We have to take your word for it.
Yes, because I remember someone saying to me, this lady was like, and I think also that's how the backlash comes. They think that maybe I do reach that state of...
It's a temptation. It's there for everyone. Whether or not it's at a small level or higher level, there's a reason why you hang out with the people you hang out with, which were not the people that you knew when you were 20 years old coming into the industry. There's a reason why you get to know Boity, for example, which we'll speak about in a moment. There's a reason why your circle of people will know you, will want to hang around you. There's a reason why it gets to that level. You may not be aware of your fame, but there is that fame and there is a behavioral change. Hopefully,
no, there is. You're not, it can't, but it's not gonna change because you're doing not yeah, I'm there. Like that's why I don't even understand when people do it. When I'm watching it and I can see someone doing it, and for me, I'm like, actually, where you are for me, it's like no way.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain level of Martin, there's a certain level of stardom that I strongly believe that one can reach, and so far I haven't really experienced it. With me, I know that I'm popular. I know when I walk into a place, chances are 20 people will be staring at me half of the time. But it's not something that I strive on. It's not something that I sit there and be like, no, I like good things. And those things, sometimes things that I do for myself, people think I'm doing it for that. I mean, when I started having wigs and stuff, I did it for myself, and I stopped because also it came with a lot of rejection. Because like I bruise easily. And that's why I don't fight with people on Twitter. That's why I don't go out of my way to just swear in because I bruise very easily.
Yeah.
Look,
people make one appearance on Movango and they get big headed.
I always laugh at those.
There is a level of accomplishment. I agree with you that I look at people and I'm like, there are people who are selling more albums than you.
Yes, who are not even known.
Yeah, and they are down to earth, and they're respected by more people. And when I'm with one hit song, or not even a hit song, a song that reaches 100,000 views on YouTube, and you think that you are it. So it's an easy thing to get into.
I think also when you don't know yourself enough, I mean, I MC a lot. And to be honest, because I'm not on radio, so chances are I wouldn't know certain artists, especially I'm a piano artist. The ones who just... So now here I am on stage and then now ask you like, sorry, bro, what's your name? Yo, it's like... How dare you don't know? But I don't. That's why every time when I always introduce myself. Hi, Bujy. Because for you to walk with that and like to have that assumption that everybody must know you, it's a big problem for me.
Yeah.
It's a big
I'm with
problem.
you with the piano artist. Like I love music and lots, like a lot, obsessive lot. But I don't follow dance music that much. With the piano artist, it's like the one song always features 5 people. It's like, bro, if we were to catch up with all of you, we don't know who's who. We will know the cream of the crop, the ones that are known. But it's like maybe 90% of you I don't know.
And also the thing is that also the grooming of it. I think once they've made it, because there's so much hype around my piano and being booked in 3 different places in one night really makes you feel like, you've really... And it's always important for you to check yourself. And I think it's the new generation now. Because with us, when I started in the industry, it was all about just your work, Now you find someone doing interviews with shades on, and you're like, but I don't even know how you look like. There's so much. You're like, rest. Keep a mazaza. No, just look, be with the people, because you must understand one thing about the industry. There's a huge evolution every 3 years. And I've seen it happen because I've survived 3 of those. So there's a huge evolution that comes with it. So you need to be very careful into what is it that you're building.
There's always someone who's better looking, younger than you. Always someone who's fresher, more flamboyant than you.
Or someone who's just, they can be mediocre, but the people would also prefer them over you, no matter how good you are.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay. Singena njani kule song kuyo? we will enter, or however we enter. So, ladies and gentlemen, last year there was a very big story. Bujy,
Was it
Boity.
last year? 2021.
Was it 2021?
It's
Okay,
been 2
thank
years
you
now.
for that correction.
I'm counting.
Okay, you've had to live through it. There was Will Smith and there was Chris Rock. We also had our own moment in South Africa with Boity and Bujy. The dynamics of that were very interesting because it was a man and a woman, but the man happened to be a gay man, and they were friends as well. There's still negative spillover from that story even today. Bujy was very quiet for a very long time, understandably so. And a lot of people are asking, how is he? What is he doing now? And I don't think that we've ever heard anything from the other side, from Boity's side as well. Recently I've been reading a lot about Bujy and what's that situation, or how it impacted him. So we handle that, as I always ask you guys, with a great level of care and respect as well. Why did you take as long as you took in terms of reflecting upon what happened? I haven't heard from you in 2 years in terms of just reading articles. It's only now that I'm starting to see you. Even with this podcast, people are starting to see you a little bit more as well. Why was this silence?
It's very important when something as traumatic as that happens, and to be very careful as to what are you saying and why what are you saying it for? Because sometimes you be trying to tell the story and you are sinking yourself even deeper. Nobody really cares. There's so much opinions around it and how it's being told, but it hasn't been told by you. It's so. I took a step back because I was hurting as well. And there was also a part of anger to say, like, why? Because, like, why is nobody believing me? Why is it so hard? I don't understand, Boity. What have I done that is so, like, I'm not saying that incident didn't happen, but I'm saying, why is it so, it's not like how it's being told. And when I remember, because one thing that most people don't know is that when that incident happened, I remember I was crying. I was hysterical.
Did you know in that moment? This is about to get
I was like,
big.
flip. What just happened? Because I stood there and then I cried my heart out. I cried so, it was so bad. And they kept on saying, no, don't cry. No, she's fine. I'm like, wait, what just happened? Because I'm also now confused. I am hysterical, now I'm calling, like I literally called the whole country, I think. I called my sister, I called my friend, so I'm busy. So at that moment, when something like that happens, and deep down inside it wasn't intentional, and by all means, go to you. Like, I knew what is so pumaganjan. Like, I knew it. And what hurt me the most, I remember, because, it happened, right? And then I also had to go to hospital. So the following day, my sister takes me to the doctor just to check where I was hurt and stuff, and then it gets checked. And I'm like, exactly what happened. So now, you're coming back to your senses.
Is it because of the alcohol that was involved, Uguti, or maybe the build up to it, the anger and the build up to it? Because people would wonder, why wouldn't you know what happened?
I think it was both. Because we were quite happy there. It was a lit party, and by the way, me and her are not friends. We've never been friends.
I didn't know that.
No, we've never been friends. We've just seen each other at places, bumped each other at a bar, maybe, but we've never been friends. I mean, I didn't have her numbers till that day. So we've never been buddy. We don't hang together. We don't have mutual friends either. So it's just a story we're from different parts of the world.
So is it coincidental that you are in the same place at the same time then?
Yes, it was. It was a matter of, okay, guys, chill. We're booking you guys in, have drinks. You're at a hotel, and then from there, you guys are going to sleep and stuff. So there was a plan. Everybody, they gave us our hotel keys and stuff,
Sure.
our room keys, and then we're like, oh, okay, cool. So it was that. It was more like, says Chile, it's now me and Nkululeko. We've never
Sure.
really, and then things just start going from 0 to 2 million.
Yeah. Let me just explain something to the audience a little bit. So there was a court case, right?
Still there is.
Oh, so there is. So I would like you to respect the idea that whatever he's going to say, he cannot incriminate himself. It's a privilege to even have one of the parties from that story to even talk about it, because there's always a danger that they will incriminate themselves when a case is ongoing. So if you find that it's almost like not a deviation or not being clear with information or forthright with information, the individual is trying to protect themselves because of the nature of the story. I would like you to respect that too. And yes, of course, we are people of integrity. We like when you sit down with people for them to speak and say what happened. But this is an ongoing case. The last thing we want to do is to have him call me and say we can't air this episode because of that. So I would like you to respect that. And I respect you, Bujy, for even giving me this moment to have a chat about that. But I wouldn't want you to say anything that incriminates you because there's an ongoing case.
And I think also, do you know what hurts me the most, right? Someone came to me and then said, yeah, hi, you see now, you are popping because of this. See? And I'm like, at what point do you think I would literally dress up, leave my house, and go and just have drama happen just like that? Nobody does that. And I'm also sure wherever she is, she knows that nobody plans around these things. Do you understand? So it has always been, no matter how much, whatever I say, it will never, it's like abaguzwa. So you choose to really just be like, because I can say things on Twitter. Twitter is not the court. And that's the hardest thing, that it is not the court. Yes, does it have any impact in terms of you getting certain gigs? Yes, it does. But is it the court? No, it's not.
Yeah. What happened? Was there any? Perhaps let me ask you this differently. Was there any cordiality between you in the day or the day after that happened? Like a situation where you're talking on the phone and you're like, no, man, that was a misunderstanding, and she's cool. Or from that night, it was like, boom, we're taking each other to court.
I remember after that night, my sister came to me at work. I was still at Viva Nation. And then because in the morning, you're trying, just to talk, and not necessarily saying, hi, I am sorry for, it wasn't a matter of I'm sorry. It was just like, can we please discuss what just happened? What is it that we're dealing with now? And I just got one message from one of her family members who said to me, we are about to destroy you. And then I was like, really? And at that time, because so many people got into trouble because of this matter. You don't understand. People lost jobs. And the way people lost jobs was because nobody wanted to take accountability for what is happening. Because number one, it was after curfew. What were they doing there at that time? You understand? So there's so many things. Now, even the person who's with you guys shouldn't have let you guys stay for that long. I remember I got so many calls from industry friends. Say something, yeah, no, people are now thinking. And I was like, the last thing that I'd like to think of myself as someone who's contributed to GBV, which I remember after the whole incident, I was in court and I heard GBV. I cried again. I was like, what? What are they talking about? I sat back because I had long braids. Now you must know this is after I spent 7 days in Sun City prison. So now I've got this long braids and I turn and look at my sister. My sister says, I'm like, where are we? How did we get here? So I really want to talk about it, because I strongly feel that personally, with what happened that day, both of us were at fault. And it's so hard for me to come and play victim because there's so many things that are literally, there's a huge backlash against me. A huge one that I remember I cried about it so badly, say, but I am not this person. And so I went on Twitter and said, I've never hit anyone with a bottle of champagne, guys. Angaze.
But there's a story out there.
The problem till today, like, imagine a whole bottle of champagne. You know, when it's shocking when that narrative is out, it's hard for you to correct it. You can't up until she can say what happened. Because if it comes from me, it's a defense mechanism. I'd rather have her speak about it so that you can maybe hear her version. Because even if I say anything now, it won't even say, no, you're protecting yourself. You are not the victim, you're the man. She's a woman. And I remember things that were said that I must be deported. Hey, this is not the first time I hit someone. I'm used to hitting people. You know, Nkululeko, there's so much that I would really like to say, you know, and I think this is me starting at this point. No edits, nothing. Run. I have never in my entire life stabbed anyone. Right? That's a narrative that's out there. Bujy stabs neighbors. My brother was the one fighting with a neighbor who had what? A knife. And he wanted to stab who? My brother. What does Bujy do? I jump out of the car, trying to protect my brother. Push the guy. So now what happens? Him and my brother's not even afraid to say it. Him and that guy, that man, Boity, guys, I've got a scar here. Bank blocker imbazo. This is now, they are taking my brother. And when the story came out, Bujy stabs neighbors. I didn't have a knife. I didn't have anything. I remember very well pushing that man inside his house. And that time, my friends came and pulled me out and then they were like stabbing. They were like, and now it's like me, but they can't say what my brother did. They always say now the story's me. And so like, he didn't do anything. And that came out. Sharp. Let it go. With the very same case that I'm dealing with till today, the story comes out. Bujy hits B with a bottle. I didn't do that. Yes, we exchanged words. We were physical at some point, but it wasn't that. And I would really like her to tell the part of the story, because when I say it, it comes across as no, because I mean, if she's the victim here, I'd rather have her say it instead of me. Already the name GBV it broke me. It broke me so badly. I have so many female friends. Why would I do that to another female? Intentionally hurt someone because they are female, or intentionally hurt someone because I just want to destroy them. When the very same time when that happened, I was supposed to start shooting a new show. Why would I sacrifice my career like that? Why would I sacrifice so much that I've worked for that moment? What good has it done me?
Yeah. Why is the court case taking as long?
So we're waiting for evidence, right? Because remember, it's counter charges. So in order for her case, we need to finish with her case, and then comes another one. So it's more of small delays, man. The footage. We have to wait for the footage.
Have you seen the footage? Have you ever seen the footage of that night?
Yes, I have.
And you happy with what you see, that it exonerates you? Or it puts blame on both parties?
I'm just happy that there's a footage.
Okay. That's
all. Footage is there. Now, listen to this. As guys, as in using, you know, so now, in order for me to get the full voice recording of everything,
the one that was circulated,
for me to get it, it's now a mission, because remember the one that came out was 2 minutes. The longer version, I had to really beg this person, and the court had to come into place to say,
to subpoena it.
To say, you need to deliver, you know, because now it's easy for you to, to just give us that clip and then the rest is missing. Got that sharp. Here's the most painful part. I had to listen to that voice clip from the beginning till the end, more than 19 times. Because now we're breaking down what really happened from when it started. I cried myself to sleep because I was like, hi man Bujy. Hi man son. Guleyon. Like literally when I even listened to it, it got me to a point where I sort of understood how we got there. And with everyone that was there. Until today, it hurts me that the people that were there are not saying anything. Because one of the ladies said, I know I tried telling them, but nobody wants to listen. Ukuthi, why is it so difficult for, if really you want to paint red, let everybody say it for what it is. I regret that day. I regret with the core of my being. What was I doing there? And I was there just hustling. I was supposed to be part of the new member of the whole Huawei team, just to, and then that day everything went iphelile angsaz. Ukuthi, I'm even asking myself, because it was raining, why didn't you go back home? Why did I even try to chill longer? Why was I trying to even be in that space? Why imoto itayela lingapanchanga sathole accident? I'm like, there's so many things. I'm like, yo, why when man hamba, why didn't I live with them? Why was I there? Why did it have to be me? Because now I would really like to hear from her, to say exactly what happened. Maybe when she tells the story, it will be a better narrative. Because if I tell the story, still, I would really love for her to say, this is what happened. I'm yet to experience that day.
Yeah, I suppose in court you get an opportunity to say that though. Like,
because
if you allow its full course with her claim and your counterclaim, eventually the judge will make an informed decision about what's in front of the judge, him or her, and they will have, and the public will then have access to that this is what the court understands to have happened on that night based on the evidence that's around. You've acquired the footage, you have now the audio, so there's sufficient, maybe the witnesses as well, if they're willing to be forthcoming. So from that, whether or not it takes 2 years, I know it has a negative impact on you because your bread was affected and even your sanity was affected as well.
So much.
But in the spirit of fairness in this kind of a case, or with any other case, even Alega Senzo Meiwa, which is not being resolved, eventually in the fullness of time, based on what the judge had in front of him or her, we will then be able to say, oh, this one was wrong. It's a pity with this one that based on the information that came out, the videos, the images and the voice note, I actually understand you to have hit a woman in the face with a champagne bottle. And one of the questions is, for me, that I wanted to ask you is, do you have an anger problem, for example? But now that I listen to what you're saying, it clearly appears to be a more complicated story than that.
It is very much complicated because that day alone, that night alone, I'm not the one who got into an altercation anyway with her. So there were so many people before it even got to me. So a part of me is, I'm glad that South Africa took a stand against me, to call me to order, so that also other men can learn from me, if that's the case. Even though in this matter, I will fully say with my words that it was not GBV, it was not gender-based violence. It had nothing to do about gender at that moment. That is not even how I function. Because man and a woman can get into a fight. But obviously, as a man, we're taught to walk away. And hence why my silence even now to say, because I remember I was interviewed, I was offered so many interviews to come and share the story. But I felt like, no one is really willing to listen. And also going to court, you don't want to, here you said, and then now you're saying this. Do I regret that night? With everything in me. I'm not a person who's full of regrets. With everything in me, I so wish. Maybe after 2 months, I see you. I even wish that on myself, because that's how tragic the story is. That's to say, that you guys know that I don't know. Because what is it that you know that I don't know? And I can't fight people on Twitter. It's an unfair home ground. I can't feel upon him, yeah, but she did this, I did this, she did this. No, I would rather have her say exactly what happened according to her. Her story, her version.
Can we look at so of course it's a human story and things happen to you and to her. There were consequences for you that were severe. Technically, would it not have made sense for you to be open from the jump about what happened? Even though there's a court case, I know maybe I'm defeating my point as I ask this, but at a PR, even at a level of trying to help someone put his story out there, not necessarily PR, but something happened and I need to address it. What were the angles where anyone would have been looking at to say, well, it's better to talk now as opposed to allowing the narrative to spread? People play it different. Of course, someone else will just keep quiet and come back, just like you a year or two later. Do you have any regrets in terms of how you played it? Not necessarily played as in played, but as it was happening, how you reacted to it?
I was scared more than anything. I'm from Kamamanga. I became very, very scared for myself, for my life. To even see which this is what people believe in. And no matter how much I tried explaining, others would listen, but they would listen and then turn back and be like, that's not the story. Do you understand? Unless if they hear it from the other ladies that were there. Because one of the ladies called me and said, she was like, Bujy, I am tired of this. Niti, you were there. Please, you rather say something, because if it comes from me, it's
you're defending yourself.
I'm defending myself.
Yeah.
You understand? And it's easy for them to, and it shows how the world, it's easy for them to believe her over me. I mean, someone even said, I am taller, I have got more power, and I'm more aggressive. So they've never seen, she has never shown any side of her like that. So with me, it's easy to say, but you have. Well, we haven't seen anything from her. But also the people that have seen some things that don't even want to say anything, but they come to me. They are calling me. No, at the other time, I'm like, why, Nizagimi? You want me now to go in? Niti, I don't want to paint her blood red. I don't want that. I don't want to say things which I want her to be able to tell her story. I want us to be given a fair opportunity to even have witnesses, if there are witnesses there, to say exactly what happened.
Are you confident in the court case in terms of how? Are you confident with the court case that's ongoing now? Would you okay? This is something that perhaps could be resolved officially in the next year or in the next 2 years. Are you confident with everything, all the court proceedings that have been happening? Because I do understand that from a public spectacle or a public contestation, you do see that, okay, for you are under pressure, you are the perpetrator publicly, they believe that. But are you not confident that because there's a court case ongoing, that could potentially exonerate me? But like something like that.
My aim before, I wanted us to find, a way to really talk about this.
Mediation.
Mediation. I think that would have helped both souls, I was willing to take the loss, of whatever the public thinks, and as long as we are both clear with how do we move forward with this. So now I need the law to do the talking for me. I can't do the talking for myself. If you believe that I'm a monster, I'm a what, I'd rather leave it to the court. Let the court, say actually lo mntwana ukhohlakele okuthiwa uSithembi Nkosi Junior Bikwa usile uhamba shaya abantu nje like ukhohlakele. I'd rather have the court paint me like that than me trying to explain ukuthi no, this didn't happen, that happened, this didn't happen, that happened. Because even when I said to them, I even, there was a blog that I was like, who gives you this information? Who gives you this information? Angazi ngishawa umuntu ngebhodlela champagne. I've never stabbed any neighbor.
Well, we all believe that. That's the thing.
You saw a picture.
Yes.
And after you saw a picture, everybody concluded that was blood. That was not blood. Besiphuma emanzini kuyipool. That's why I'd rather have her.
Wait, just hold on. We have cell phones. I just need to. I don't know if I just want to make sure that.
Guys,
I can. I will not absolve or.
And also,
I just want to see it
and
again.
also, who said someone was in hospital? Who went to hospital and slept in hospital?
You've told us now that your sister took you to hospital the next morning, right?
I went to hospital.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And what makes people think that I like, guys, angisazi shem.
I just want to see this. Yeah, because this looks like. So when we see this picture as a public, Cultr, I hope you pull this up for the audience as well. No? I'll send you this picture so that people. So when we see this, that was convincing to us that she was bleeding. It's just red all over. Can you take the phone and see it closer?
Oh no, I've seen this picture so many times. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
So when you see, I remember very well now with this picture because they had pushed me inside because like we just to be there to assess the whole thing.
Yeah.
So here you can see the top is wet already. It's white.
Why is it red too?
The red is because of what I spilled her with.
It's not blood.
And then the blood is there, especially on top. But the narrative of it, also the light is red. And now the way it came out, it was more like, I was like, guys, when people are drunk, people bleed. And also now it's like maybe in beaches, I don't know. This picture actually,
yeah. Because although I don't follow celebrity gossip news, I remember that reading the headline and seeing this picture.
I mean, when you put...
Is it believable?
When you put that picture and then you put the voice note, we understand what does that say?
Yeah. It's easily believable.
It's easily believable. So now, they're saying I'd rather have the court do what is necessary.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you
because it's very important because now I think she also has a story to tell. And funny enough, I'm the one who's been telling the one who's been attacked because obviously of the narrative that's been taken out, which is good. Let me go through it because I'm a man and GBV is a big thing in South Africa. Allow me to go through, even though with my own words, I still say there is no way that I would go off my way to function in any way to harm anyone.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think we've ventilated this sufficiently. There are other aspects of it that I would like to ask you. There was a report that after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, his network dwindled. He lost a lot of money. Just on his net worth, it dwindled. People are consequenced by these. What did you lose? You told me that there was a TV show that you were on the verge of doing. There were doors that closed on you. Major doors. Just talk about that. And how did that make you feel? I suppose when you lose bread, I'm sure it's depressing.
I was sad. And I really wanted to talk to her at that time to say, can you see what's happening? Not me trying to run away from the whole incident with what we did to each other, but can you see? And so the message that was sent to me to say, we are about to destroy you, is coming to life. Because everything just, Have you ever went to Upetinto so, but I don't know how to explain it. It was going to be one of the most awesome comebacks on TV even. It broke me. I don't think I've healed from it. And even now, as I'm talking about this case, I'm busy shaking inside.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm scared, of how people take this, or others will say, no, it's isha noma kanjani. I can't do it noma kanjani.
Yeah, suppose the other thing is people don't get, because not everyone is in the entertainment industry, is that even with a conversation like this, the person who potentially would like to bring you back on television is looking at how you respond to question and how you're presenting yourself, and how for the first time they might even be hearing your version of it, to a point where they're like, if in their mind they've made up that as a producer of this thing on Netflix, I wanted you, but you're not. Your comeback, in their mind, your comeback would have been that you are sorry for GPV and therefore
No, you can't be sorry for things that you haven't done. See, that's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
For the violence side of me, retaliating like that, till today, people don't even believe what's in human shower. Do you understand? So when you start saying, I'm sorry, I would love to make peace with her. God knows. Even when I see it caught, saying, wait, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Let's be civil around this. I would really, really, maybe if there was an opportunity, but now I just kept on being. I'm not sure which thing. Okay, sorry, we fought, and she bled. I don't know which part. Because now if I say I'm sorry for this, you are wrong. Just say sorry. Let it go. Let it go. I'm sorry for contributing to the violence in this country. It's hectic. It breaks my heart to know that I am going to go down in history as the guy who was Shabantu. It's a sad situation.
Yeah. How does one come back from this? Like, in terms of, because you are an entertainer.
Actually, I'm relying on her. Funny enough. Because I would love her to talk instead of me talking. And will that happen? I don't know. Because the more, and a part of me also wishes that I could have such opportunity to talk about such things also in her presence. Because there's nothing that I feel that maybe she has things that she also wants to say, because she hasn't said anything. I mean, the only person who always keeps on saying, no, it's me, I'm trending for this, I'm trending. it's always been like a huge attack against me. I would like to have this conversation with her.
Yeah, what I want to know from you as someone who works, as a person who's still in the entertainment industry, you were telling us that you do emceeing gigs every now and then. Have you had any conversation with people in the industry about how to make it back? Like, what would you need to do? What's your perception about you in the industry that you need to clean up and then go back to the treadmill of being a presenter for Big Brother this, or any event that's happening, any award that's happening in the Metro FM Awards or whatever? What do you need to do from your end? Or is this permanent
is to
cancellation?
Tell the truth of exactly what happened. Like now I can't. I'm busy dodging the bullet.
Yeah.
How many times are we touching them, going them? Because it's to just, let's tell the truth. That's all. I mean, I'm not trying to say what didn't happen. Let's just tell the truth. Please, in the name of Jesus, I ask, let's just tell the truth. So that people can see this could have happened between anyone in the world. It's not even like let's just tell the truth. And then you'll be the judge here now. Because now the story is pumile. And most of the time when I get attacked, this is another thing that I picked up. Every time when I get attacked on Twitter, then I'll get so many ghost accounts that are fighting me. And I'm just like, whoever's doing the whole PR around this is going around it the wrong way. It's going around it the wrong way, because I'm not saying this happened. I would love one day to just have her and have me, and then maybe you have the witnesses, and then you hear what happened. And also what this did to me also it made me do a lot of self-introspection of how does one even get there? What triggers me? The healing process of it, you know? So for me to get back into the industry, even though I don't feel like I've really been, because I haven't done anything mainstream, and I'm glad that I took the year off. Bengizohlanya. Every time when I say this, even when I speak to a certain producer, no, how far is the case? No, how far is the case? And I'm just like, then let me not even try. Let me just focus on myself, because it's hurtful. It hurts me. And I know someone said, like, no, they deserve it. Maybe I'm paying for sins for other people, or maybe there's something happened in my family that I don't know what to make of this.
What does your community, what's your community's, the LGBTQI community's response to this, like in terms of when you observe what they think of you now?
Here, do you know what's the funniest thing that happened? So I was supposed to go to Gay Pride last year. Oh, Nkululeko. I sat back. So
when you say supposed to, is it on invitation?
I wanted to go.
Okay, you were just as one of the members of the...
so I'm like, hey, just organize there. Let me just see. In a message came in. Bujy has never attended Gay Pride in years. Now that his career has gone down the drain, he wants to come and use this platform. Tell him we don't want him, and just in case, tell him we don't want him. I don't want him hitting me with a bottle of wine. Or something like that. Somewhere along those words.
This is one of the organizers of the event?
Yes. And I was like, how? So me not attending Gay Pride, does that mean I was against you guys? In most cases, when Gay Pride happens, I happen to be working.
You booked somewhere.
I'm booked somewhere. And in most cases, Gay Pride, when you're queer, when you go there, you hardly even get paid. But someone who is the A+,
A-lister celebrity.
No, not A-lister celebrity. Like, not someone who's even queer. Someone who's an A, whatever.
Sure.
What does the A community stand for? We LGBTQI.
Is there an A as well?
A+.
I thought there was an I. You're confusing me.
Okay, it's LGBTQIA+.
Well,
Yes.
that's Googleable though. Let's not...
Someone's an alliance, guys. I'm sure they
no, maybe it's alliance. Aye, not that.
You'd get someone who's not really queer, but who gets paid, who benefits financially from the event. And I'm talking things that I know,
Okay, so it's an ally.
Ally, yes. Alliance.
Not that. But it can also mean asexual, as I'm going through Google. But anyways, I don't want us to deviate from the story. You were telling us about the Gay Pride.
When that happened, I'm like, how? So me mixing Gay Pride for those couple of years, and then there was a story that I took one of the girls' clothes and I never promoted her, and I would, things that I was not even aware of. It's a thing, Someone that I know who happens to be close to me said to me, I'm doing an event, but I can't have you because people are going to attack me, because of the whole incident. I was like, okay. I was like, so the very same community, right? Not saying that they must condone what happened that night between us, because they don't know the full story. The conclusion that you have made of saying, we're not going to have him this part, you're not going to have him here. Why is it so easy? Why just for you to just... And why you bring up such stories? Because things that I'm not even aware of. I've never said no to Gay Pride. I've hosted the Gay Pride before with Sade. I've done it before. Sade Gilberti, years back. Why would I hate Gay Pride now? And if I want to come to the Gay Pride and be on stage and rock why would you bring something that tragic that happened to me, and be like, we're not gonna have him on our stage.
That seems to be a double standard because I have no dog in the fight. I'm not interested that much in people I've always told people I don't agree with the cancellation of human beings. I think that there are better ways to deal with this.
We all learn.
Yeah. I remember that Moshe and Musa Kawula, there was a thing. And the thing is Moshe Ndegi going out of his way in response to what Musa Kawula had been doing, consistently reporting about him. And he tracked him down at a restaurant and he hit him. And I think he pulled his hair from the video. At least I'm not making an allegation that people don't know about. From the video, you could see that he tracked him down. He hit him. I think one of his dreadlocks fell off, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And I remember we used to do a podcast with myself and Cultr and Thulo, and we spoke about this, that there is a degree of hypocrisy with the gay community and how they deal with that, because there wasn't much of a response from that with Moshe and Musa. But in other instances, like yours now, as you relate the story, there's a different way in which that's dealt with.
With me, there was a lot of, and I'm confidently going to say this, there was a lot of influence into how the story was told. And I'm quite aware of it, very much aware. I'm even quite aware of the flying monkeys. The wizard with the flying monkeys, like yo, you know, because people who just come and just say things. And then when you go to this person, when you click, you're just like, one follower following 400 people. I promise you. So now you must be aware, Oguti, Moshe didn't get flying monkeys to go and push his narrative, or Musa got the opportunity. With me, I know exactly what's happening. I see it, I feel it, I know it, I even feel it in court when things are happening, and then I'm just like, it's okay. So those are where there's doubles, because if they wanted to drag it, they would have. I mean, someone was saying to me, yeah, I know there's a group of people that I know who can tweet on your behalf, and I was like, let's not do that. Guys, I just want the truth, that's all. Just want you the truth, and then people decide with no, I didn't. No, she did. No, can you just get to the truth? I'm fine. It's okay.
What are the prospects of a career as you look at them?
One thing that I've learned, right? I've never really depended on, and I think that's one thing that pushed me to the industry. I never came to the industry with I must be on TV. I must be on. I strongly believe that there's amazing people that I've met who are not necessarily on TV. I mean, broadcasters as yourself who are able to do things for themselves. It's okay to start afresh. It's okay to watch things unfold. For me, this taught me so much. It taught me I had to learn a lot about myself. I had to forgive myself. I got angry. I got angry at so many people. And hence why doing interviews then would have actually showed because I was not going to be kind to the situation anyway, you know. And it's a good thing to be humbled. You have to be humbled, because if you're not humbled, then you're not learning anything.
Yeah,
you know. Because for me, if Osafon Puma, yeah, why is I? You need to be humbled. I'm very much. Hey, they did humble me, you know. And it's I lost my check of thought.
I'm asking you about your career prospects, and you leading me onto the idea that you don't always have to be in front of the camera, in front of a microphone.
No. I've produced 3 movies that I've never even featured myself on, because that's how I view entertainment. You know, and also because maybe I follow so much of the Hollywood culture. I see most actors who have done amazing things, but have never been on, who are not on that production. You know, when at some point then you put yourself there, and there. You know, so for me, it's doing the work. If a TV gig comes, it comes. If it doesn't, what do? I focus on my DJing. I focus on doing other things. You know, if you are a fully fledged entertainer, it's easy for you to work your way around things.
Yeah, I think that's a powerful thing, like to be skilled as an individual, and
because fame comes and goes, and that's one thing that most people don't understand.
But you cannot escape the part where it hurts to lose it. It hurts to have opportunities being taken from you. And this is not an attack on you. I'm just saying in general. Here's what happens when a mother loses a child, for example. Her sisters and brothers and cousins and their neighbors will come and say, so in the week before you bury your child, they will come and give you sleeping pills. And some of them will say, this pill helped me with depression. But what you see, the physical manifestation of the pill is that it really makes the person docile and make them absent-minded, and most times it make them sleep as well. And I said this with my aunties. We lost one of my favorite people in the world in 2012, my cousin. And I said, when people were feeding her with a lot of these pills, what those pills were doing were to escape the part where someone mourns a loss. It is important for you to cry. It is important for you to acknowledge that I lost the fame and therefore it hurt me. And I think in many ways in this conversation, you've done that. It's okay for that to happen, for you to acknowledge that I'm sad. When I'm sad, I don't go out to a mall. And I'm acknowledging the sadness of the feeling.
You don't.
You acknowledge, Uguti, I feel shit. I don't want to go and cut my hair and all of that stuff.
Oh no, let me tell you what happened, right? And I fully understand what you mean. This is 2021, right? When most of the gigs got cancelled, so many. And then I remember saying to my sister, this is it. It's all gone. And my sister said to me, what do we do now? I was like, I don't know, back to the basics. And it's sort of, like you're saying, like Shalom, like you can't, that's why the whole year, I wouldn't even know what was happening in the entertainment industry. The whole 2022, I didn't know. I only knew that I wake up, I go to my Sunday gig, then I go back home, then I chill with my friends. It hurts me when somebody say, so what are you busy with now? And you feel like what you have at that moment is not enough for you to even brag about. And then it brought me back to self. Why did you do entertainment? When you first started, when you go back to that young boy, why was he doing it? Was it because of fame? Did he want to be famous? Did the boy really just enjoy the work that he does? I was like, the boy enjoyed the work that he does. And yes, it came with fame. And then I said, go back to that boy. And I did. I went back to that boy. I went back to cut off my hair, shave off the beard, and the whole healing process of it. There were things, I remember one of my friends saying, I want you to try, there's a gig in, and every time it became a no, not him. It just kept on crushing me further and further deep.
That hurts.
It just kept on, I remember there was a time, guys, I even sent an invoice, and now there's this flyer with my face. And then, one of the team members of that company came back and said, no, we don't want that one. And then went on Twitter, screen grabbed every horrible tweet that was about me and said, please forward him these things and see what people are saying about him. And tweets that I've never even seen in my entire life. Because when I went through the drama, my family deleted my WhatsApp, deleted my... In fact, it took me a while to get my phone back.
Yeah.
Because even if when I had my phone, it was being monitored, waiting bigger in. Because my sister was like, you're going to want to die. Don't see these things. But now, even though I didn't see them, I didn't read them, I felt the energy. I felt we don't want to hang with him type of vibe, which is, I don't have a lot of celebrity friends anyway, but very few were able to say, you know what, let me just hear him, and they don't even owe me that. That's the thing, they don't owe me that, and losing, those gigs and stuff, so much had to happen financially. I had to change my lifestyle, I had to downgrade, from my apartment to where I stay now. I had to find the human in me. I am still going through this, not as I've decided that I'm not gonna go through it as Bujy. Bujy, guys. I'm gonna go through I'm gonna go through this like any other human being, and one day I'm gonna live to tell a proper story. I'm willing to come back when everything is done, so you can get from the beginning till the end. I would love to, because there's so many lessons that I learned from the first day, like the following day of that incident, the following day when I was with my sister. And then when the doctor came back, and my sister said something that till today I regret not doing. My sister said, whoever cries first is the one that they believe. And I was like, no, man. I am telling you now, whoever cries first must believe I in. Like, no, let me wait and see. And then the lady who was handling the whole thing said to me, Bujy, don't do anything. I've got this under control. Ngupila, where am I today? Because if I cried first at that time, would have been a different conversation till today.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I wanted to explore with you as I asked you the question of your silence from the beginning, because I think it's helpful. It's helpful. I think it's helpful to push your narrative out there. If you're quiet, I know that you said you were scared and you didn't know.
I still am. I suffer from social anxiety, guys. I wouldn't. But for me, you must understand when something like this happens to you. When Uqata Opuma HL 7 days, being denied bail, now you with other gangster Barbies, they are met other interesting gay guys. So, and coming, I was just like, maybe there's a lesson. And so for me, I took this like, let it be a lesson. If people don't learn from me, then I don't know who else you want to learn from, you know?
We've spoken for almost 2 hours. I need to ask you one important thing before I let you go. I've always had I'm full of empathy and love for people. I listen and I hear them out. I'm reclusive, similar to you, social anxiety. I don't like meeting new people. I keep to myself a lot, but I'm very understanding of people because I grew up in townships with a lot of people, a lot. I've always had my reservations about the LGBTQI community and the way that they handle situations. We are in 2023, and part of what we took from the LGBTQI community may have been happening at a lower scale 20 years ago. The idea of cancellation of human beings I've always had a problem with. In fact, if you want to do a case study that's interesting is what happened with MacG, where instead of trying to hear someone out, understand where they're coming from, and maybe condemn them and say that you're being ignorant, there was an effort to try and cancel him based on the words that were said on his platform. And the reverse happened. The attempt to cancel actually resuscitated someone to a point where he got so big and so huge, and this platform is very, very important in the country and on the continent as well. And one of the reasons why the platform exploded came from an LGBTQI moment and an attempt to cancel, to take bread out of someone's mouth.
I so wish, right? Sorry, we'll cut.
Sure.
I so wish the very same energy that we have as the LGBTQI community, we can apply it on each other in terms of empowering each other. There's so many things that have happened, because I also joined the podcast, remember?
Yes.
When I joined podcast and chill. And someone said to me, yeah, he's a homophobe. You can't join him. I'm like, the shocking is that we don't want to teach people, want people to just assume.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we are living in a straight world. And if we do not wake up now with what's happening in Uganda and also what's happening in America, you'd understand, Guti, as a queer community, we're in trouble. We are in big, big, big trouble. And we need to start that energy that we have for canceling or maybe hate. We need to start pushing that energy into love. I think there is so many amazing things that us as queer people we can do, and I'm glad, because MacG learned from that. Did he not learn? He learned.
Of course
But he did learn.
Yeah.
But now it's also how it's done. Because thumb warriors, when you behind your phone, I can say, if nobody knows me, if Mtukawena, there's no filter. Because some of them, but they say these things because they know which chances of them meeting you are very slim.
Yeah.
Because if they knew you, then they would have come to you or maybe said something.
Yeah.
So for me also, there's still a bit of learning that we're supposed to be pushing as a queer community.
The idea of canceling instead of counseling people I'm repulsed by that, and not only limited to the LGBTQI community. In general, the idea of canceling, the attempt to cancel Umampinja and Babe Sodumo with all of the drama that was happening in their relationship, and all of a sudden there's a counter to say, you know what, people in KZN rally behind Umampinja to say, no, these people, what they are as imperfect as they are, to the both of them, let them be. We're not going to cancel one over the other.
I'd like to say something, and I never thought I'd ever get to this position.
Sure.
With what happened to me, right? After all cancel culture, after all the gigs, who was booking Bujy? Straight people, heterosexuals. So if I have never built that relationship, when I'm being told that we don't want him, now we gay pride, that should tell you a lot. When now, very straight, the other ones were just like, no, but man, you can't go down like this. You've learned from it. And not one of them came to me and said, what you did was right. Yeah, so. No, most of them were like, that's bad. That's bad. But because it's like it only happened to Bujy, it will never happen to someone else. That's where the problem is. I'm telling you now, I am booked this weekend, going welcome, going kai. Not even one queer person is behind that. And then we say we are a culture that wants to nurture each other. And I'm not saying they must rally behind me and say, in everything that I've done, I've hosted gay pride after parties. I'm the last one to ever say, to say I've never contributed positively to the community. But there is a lesson also being learned from me, specifically me now, to say where I went and people were willing to have the guts to say, actually, he has learned, but Lomutlo, we are servants. Remember, a court hasn't said I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I told you, you're not guilty one. Or you're going to encounter 17 charges of what? Nothing. Based on what? Twitter. Based on people, the gays won't want to come. I chill. I still vibe with the gays. I still vibe with all the queer people. But now, because of the narrative that now we need to be like a squeaky clean community, we are not. We are human beings. Can we learn to function like human beings? I'm a human being. And that's where we need to be as a queer community. Say, if I was literally told not to even come or not to be part of Pride, yeah, because I've missed 2 events, 2 years I was booked, and chances are I cannot. I remember also the last time when I missed that event, I'm staying in Eastern Cape, so I can't fly back from Eastern Cape and come here for I'll be available for other things that you're doing, but if it's work related, burato, guys, we're dealing with money, burato. So that's some of the things that I've learned. It makes me also sometimes just feel like we are not true to ourselves. And hence why you find, when you look at what happened between when people were boasting about Mohale Somizi that was not a laughing matter. For me, it wasn't fun. It wasn't comfortable to watch. The last thing they should ever wish for such a couple is for them to get divorced, because I knew what it means for us. But now everybody has their own narrative that they're pushing.
That's interesting. This life is about angles and narratives. And the winners will always be the ones who are able to push their story first and farthest for as long as it reaches masses and numbers of people as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. Then you push your own narrative. I suppose one of the greatest lessons for you will be that you have to speak up for yourself. If
you know why? You see, even with these interviews, there's things I'm just like, well, I wish I didn't say that, because it's so easy. I'm telling you, and it's not even the people. There's this flying monkeys, and then you see them on Twitter, and then you're like, but really? Because to a point, I didn't go out. I didn't leave my house for months on end. Uh-huh. I would go to this point and go back because I am scared. Or someone was saying attack. I was saying Bujy pushed me. Yeah. Oh, Bujy. I was living in anger. So much therapy to the point where your medical aid is even exhausted. You are busy, you're doing this, you're doing that. How many cleansing ceremonies can one do? It's those things that most people don't understand, which when you're behind the phone, whatever, no, I even pray for them. Long to get behind their phone, like, whatever that they're doing to me, can you please go back? Because you think that just because saying things over the phone, they don't reach someone. That's an energy that you're sending. An energy that I know at some point it needs to return back to you. That's why even when you see people doing these gossip shows, and I'm like, this thing always backfires. Let's look at the history of gossip shows. If you were the meanest, at some point, everything bad happens in your life.
Absolutely.
So why are we not learning even now? But for me, I would really, thank you for having me. I would have really liked to say the story, but I'll come back after court.
Thank you so much, Bujy, for coming through. There will be backlash. I would advise you not to read comments.
You know what?
I would advise you not to read the comments.
Okay, you know what? As much as you say not read the comments, even my podcast, I didn't read comments. There's something that I've learned, and for those who want to comment, what you say to me, or what you hate about me, or what you love about me, is something that you hate or love about yourself. So it's all up to you. Do you?
Thank you so much. Thank you very much to everyone for watching this.